Internal conflict and external conflict. You will need both in your novel. Without internal conflict, your novel will feel flat and non-engaging. Without external conflict, it will be hard to build any kind of suspense in your novel. Why do readers want to read books? The reason is conflict. We all love to see a character being put in a predicament and then watching them get themselves out of the situation. Conflict automatically adds excitement and suspense to your novel. Whatever the conflict is must be introduced in your first chapter. In fact, by the end of your first chapter, the reader should have a clear view of the issue that must be resolved. The reader is then motivated to read the second chapter because they are dying to find out what the character is going to do first. You will find out that writing that first chapter is the most difficult. It's where you are introducing your main characters, where you are divulging a sufficient amount of backstory to build up the character's personality. Backstory is a term meaning the activities that took place before the story started. Backstory must be woven into your story, preferably starting in the first chapter. In other words, do not stop the action of your story for a paragraph or a page on backstory. Backstory can be put in by dialogue, by brief thoughts, etc. Adding backstory is an art. You will find that really great authors are masters of weaving in backstory effectively. If you are interested in reading a writer that is especially artful in weaving in backstory, pick up a Janet Ivanovich novel. Personally, I am fascinated with how well she weaves in backstory. Within any of the first paragraphs of her novel, she will have tons in backstory. She is truly an artist. You'll learn more about backstory later in this course. That said, let's get back to conflict. As your story progresses, the characters will try and try again to overcome the problem. Never sell your reader short. Don't make the mistake of giving the characters a conflict that can be resolved too easily. Your readers will put your book right down and pick up another one. In fact, try to give your hero and heroine a problem so gigantic and horrendous, it appears they'll never get past it. Also, give your readers a type of characters that are strong, invincible, and fearless. Yes, even in a romance, we all want characters who don't give up easily. If your hero's ex-girlfriend comes on the scene, your heroine might lick her wounds for a short while, but eventually she needs to come out fighting. Not literally. But we don't want her to take this problem lying down. We want a character with spine, with gumption, and with an indomitable spirit. But remember, no one wants to read about a perfect person. Your characters must have flaws. Your hero and your heroine will have a goal they are trying to attain in your novel, and there will be reasons they cannot attain these goals. Those reasons must be both internal and external. When we talk about plot-driven novels, the conflicts are usually exclusively external. However, for a romance, which is character-driven, the reason for not being able to attain the goal must be both internal and external. Let's look at some examples of internal and external conflict. Jim was having a very hard time walking in the blinding snowstorm. Where is the conflict coming from? From outside. This is an example of external conflict. Gina couldn't decide. John and Kevin both wanted to take her to the prom. She liked both of them and didn't want to hurt either one of their feelings. Where is the conflict coming from? The two boys would be external conflict, but her feelings come from internal conflict. Specifically, the internal conflict is that she doesn't want to hurt either of their feelings. As a writer, you will want to expose this inner conflict in your character. This is why so many romances have secondary characters. For example, a friend who causes the heroine to talk about her conflicting feelings. You can also have an antagonist who does things that bother the hero about the hero's inner conflict, such as a secret, or belief, or certain feelings. Use the antagonist to reveal things about your main character. Your external conflict is actually that obstacle course you set up. In other words, the plot. When things are going well for your characters, you have work to do. You need to set up an obstacle or a hurdle for them to overcome. The obstacle needs to make your characters react emotionally, which will cause them to take a certain course of action. Conflict should be found in every dialogue and every page of the entire novel. The internal conflict should be such a large part of the character that it's visible in everything the character does and says. When having your characters express their emotions, there are many ways to express them. They can be remarks, internal dialogue, or body language. Remember, what a character does not say can express more than blurting it out sometimes. You are now ready to look at an example.